Let's get 5 more dice and see if those 5 will be more successful. Trying to damage her. This could be a bit bad if it doesn't get any hits there. And there's not a single hit there either. Ooh, Queenie, you might survive this. This is Axis and Allies versus Aliens on the 2 or Less channel. Video number 4, turn number 5, and we are on the start of the turn with Germany. They can roll through, have a bash at the Queen in her hive. Before we get into that, may I mention that I make these videos in aid of a charity called Cure Parkinson's. You can guess what they're trying to do. There is a link to them below this video, one in the banner on the channel page. If you happen to have a spare dollar, euro, yen, yak, or a sentry gun you could send to them, I'm sure that they would appreciate it. Let's have a look at the board and see what Germany are going to do. This is going to be fun. Here is young Queenie in her hive there. Behind her in the Kut SSR are 4 Focke-Wulf 190s. There are also a pair of Heinkel 111s in the Netzier. And here in Novosibirsk are a division of German tanks and some mechanized infantry. They can blitz through Temguska and attack the hive along with these planes. The Queen is very vulnerable right now. She has 16 strength points. Should she fall below or equal to 10 strength points, she will lose 2 dice on her attack rolls or defense rolls. She'll only be able to produce 1 strength point per turn to boost her up. Let's see how Germany get on first. They could very well end the Queen's run this time round. So here we have young Queenie in her hive. She has got her 16 strength points. There are 19 dice to be rolled by the Germans, all trying to hit her at ones. 19 dice. I got 12 in my hand. 12 for the first roll, 7 for the second. And they haven't scored a single one. Ooh, that's not good for them straight away. Let's get 5 more dice and see if those 5 will be more successful. Trying to damage her. This could be a bit bad if it doesn't get any hits there. And there's not a single hit there either. Ooh, Queenie, you might survive this. She's going to get her 8 dice at 4 or less. We'll have 6 black and a couple of reds. And at 4s, she has scored just the 4 hits. So I will say, I think Germany got away with that slightly there. It could have been a heck of a lot worse for them. We'll take the 4 FW190s out of action straight away. And then roll again for the Germans' second go. They will have 15 dice now. So the first lot of 12, all trying to roll ones. Let's see what they can do. That hasn't made up for the poor dice roll last time. They've only scored 2 hits off of there. So that's 2 strength points goes from the Queenie. Plus there will be another 3 dice to make up the rest of that 15 dice roll. And no ones have been scored there. I guess it kind of balances out from that overroll in the last video where China was so successful, overly successful versus the Queenie. So she will get her 8 dice still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Trying to roll at 4s or lesses. And there's just 3 misses there. So that must mean there are 5 more to come off of the German units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, do Germany think about putting back? They're not going to be producing any captured humans because these are all mechanized infantries and mechanized units. But they're only really hitting here on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dice. They can still get 2 more hits. Let's have another go with Germany. One final turn. If they get a really bad roll this time, then we will call it quits. But they'll have a go. 10 dice, all at once, and they've got 3 hits. So they've made up slightly for it there. Let's take those 3 off. That means the Queen is now down to 11 points. It's the perilous position for her because 1 more point loss and she will start regenerating at a lower rate. So, and hitting at a lower rate as well. She still has her 8 dice at this roll. and she has scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. That is all of those gone from Germany. I did say that we might pull off at this round, but if we can get this one more point off of Queenie with 4 dice, then she's going to regen a little bit slower. Take the risk. You've got to risk it for a biscuit. And they've done 2 hits. Oh my giddy aunt. Look at that. That's bad. That's really bad for Queenie. She loses 2 points, which takes her down to 9 points now. She will only get 6 dice versus these guys here. Of course, she starts off at 8 at this turn. But in future, well, she just actually smashed them there, isn't she? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hits again. So this turn, Germany have lost all their units from that roll. Queenie, with her 9 house points, will go back into the Mongolian hive and only be able to repair 1 house point this turn. Because she will only be on 10, she will only be able to repair 1 house point next time round and only be fighting with 6 dice. Let's get the rest of the German non-com move going, which I don't think is going to be everything moving forward. It might be everything's trying to move back from the previous video where we said about this alien getting into the water potentially and causing a lot more problems. We do still have yet a captured human over here in Novosibirsk and one in Amur to think about. So let me double think on my thinking with all the Germans, and then we get on to the Soviet turn next. I'll see you in a wee while when my thinking is thunked. And on to the Soviet Union's turn. I cannot think of a single reason why the Soviets would not follow Germany's lead and take these mechanical infantry and tanks and these planes from Yakut and go into the hive themselves and have a bash at Queenie. Let's get that one onto the board. So here we are, Battle for the Hive part number 2. We have 6 Soviet Union troops running in at 1s or lesses, if that's even possible, trying to hit the Queen. They've scored 2 hits, another overroll when it comes to these attacks versus the Hive and the Queen. She will get her 6 dice, trying to roll at 4 or less. Got to do some big damage here, we think. And she's done 4 hits on the Soviet troops. Wow, that's pretty damn cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just leave the T-34s in there. We can't send them in alone, can we, against the Queenie? Yeah, of course we can. If we're here to roll dice, let's see if they can roll a pair of 1s. They got a pair of 2s. That was pretty damn close. But the Queen, I'm sure, is going to finish them off with her 6 dice. Now she is wounded, and she finishes them off easily. So she is now left with 7 house points. Let's go back over to Mongolia. 1 second. There's the Queen going back. There's her health points going down. Again, she's going to be struggling now to repair herself. But once we do the non-com move for the Soviets, again, probably coming towards the hive to a large enough degree, and then putting their reinforcements on the board, we're going to have to deal with Japan. Now, Japan will be thinking about this guy in J-Hull. They have half a mind on the one captured human in here, and obviously the other captured human, which will turn into an alien on the alien's turn, will be more of the Soviets' problems for them later on. Let's do the Soviets finish off their turn, and I will see you on Japan's turn. Okay, we're on now to the Japanese turn. We have young Blondie here in J-Hull. We're going to have to deal with her with Japan. They've got some units up here in Amur. Amur isn't hostile with a captured human. It's not hostile until that turns into an alien. So these guys can exit here, and America Land can come in and deal with this guy when he turns. On these boats, pick up some guys from the island. Pick up these guys here. They're going to come through. I think these guys come from Caroline Islands maybe, into J-Hull and deal with this guy. If we produce a captured human, there's guys at the mainland that can hopefully deal with that when that turns into another alien next time. But we see what happens when we start rolling some dice. As I was setting things up and moving these across to here, we have 12 got boats capable of transporting units, which does mean we can use these 2 battleships and 2 cruisers to also do some bombardment, which means rather than just 11 dice being thrown at this young alien named Blondie, we can get 15 dice initially. So 15 dice, 12 in my hand, try and do a pair of ones to knock Blondie out of the game. And we don't even need to spare. There's 3 hits again on the aliens. So young Blondie is lost. Blondie has her 6 dice at 4 or less. Trying to roll 5 hits to produce a captured human and extend this game further. And she has not achieved that. She's only achieved the 4 hits that's there. That is really bad for the aliens. Blondie goes. 4 humans who think it's quite bad as well. They're going to go from there. It does mean that J-Hull is liberated, for want of a better term. 1 point will go back onto the IPCs for the Chinese units. And really, we're not going to get a fish in the water like we were hoping to get and get these aliens across and start beating up America. The hope for the aliens now will be on their turn when Amur comes alive and Novosibirsk comes alive. I will see you after America have made their movement across into Amur, etc. But before we get onto the alien turn, we have to deal with China moving into the hive. That could be interesting. Well, America's conveyor belt have surrounded this one poor guy in Amur. I really don't think he wants to be changed into an alien if I was him. There was a case for some of these Americans popping in and having a go at the Queen. But America always come in at the end of the movie and grab the glory. We're going to give the glory, we hope, to China. They have got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units in here versus Queenie with her 7 strength points. They were the ones that did all that damage in the last video. Let's give them a shot at glory in taking out the Queen this turn. I'll get that on the board. Let's get everybody nicely into camera shot here. There we go. So, Queenie with her 6 dice at 4 or less because she is wounded. She is licking her wounds versus the 10 dice that China can try to use, trying to roll in at ones. Can they end the Queen this time round? Let's just get that nice where we can see it. So, 10 dice for China. Scoring. They've done it again. They have done it again. 3 hits there. Wow, China. 1, 2, 3. That is 3 off of there. That would take that 5 down to a 2. Queen now has 4 strength points, but she will first get her 6 dice at 4 or less. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What can she do? She can do badly is what she can do. Just the 2 hits out of that. Oh man alive, this is really bad. This is, poor old Queenie. 1, 2. So, China are now down to 8 dice, which will be 6 red and 2 black. Trying to score 4 hits with their overrolls. They've missed. Thank you. They've missed. Now, Queenie still gets her 6 dice, trying to roll in at 4s or lesses. Dropping dice everywhere now in my excitement. And this time she does score 4 out of the 6 hits, which is, that's probably what she was going to expect to do in the first place. So that will go down now, 1 more. They're left with 4 dice. Come on. Do what the Soviets couldn't do and roll a hat full of ones with their minuscule roll, which they had at the end. No. We were asking too much there, really, weren't we? We definitely were asking too much. Queenie with your 6, and she has just smashed them. She scored 4 hits again. That is all of China gone. Well, we were hoping against hope that the Chinese could win the game. It would have been fitting for them, and it would actually be the end of the game at that point in time. But that would have been the end of the Queen thus far. There's her 4 strength points in here. So once I get the Chinese units back on the board, which will be going into Shui Yan, that is for absolute for sure. It will be the alien turn and the turning of these 1, 2 captured humans into aliens and seeing if they can just eke this game out for a little bit longer. I see you on the alien turn. Okay, we are on with the aliens now. I've had about 24 hours away from the game. Give me a chance to rejig my thinking. We've been getting into this circle of fire, this circle of life, with producing captured humans and turning them into aliens and bashing them and making more captured humans. But this will end at some point in time because the Americans are buying themselves tanks and mechanized infantry, and they've now got a fairly reasonable supply line coming around over the Bering Straits into Soviet Northeast, Siberia, and they can start getting these captured humans and their aliens and taking them out without making any more captured humans sometime soon. So we shall give the Queen her 1 health point, what I remember, and we put a captured human up into there, or an alien up into there. In this case, it's alien with no name goes into there and knocks everything over. The same thing's going to happen over in Novosibirsk, except, well, again, we're going to put in it, bruv, this time, facing Soviet troops, Soviet artillery, etc. It's not going to last long, and there is quite a lot of mechanized stuff coming through, which again, we'll be able to utilize that, and hopefully, with some bad rolls from aliens, the aliens will be taken out from this side of the map. I can't see this side of the map being any good for the aliens, but because we're on the aliens and we are trying to play the aliens as best as we can, the Queen is going to produce 2 Praetorian. She must send them out because her hive is not going to survive. She is going to die with the next turn. That's without a doubt. So she's going to send the 2 aliens out. She could send them into Manchuria, but if she does that, and whatever happens here in this attack, this guy is going to go certainly. They'll be able to attack these guys in Manchuria on the turn afterwards. So again, we're not really gaining very much. But if we put these 2 guys into Jehol versus this small number of Japanese, there's a chance that they could make another captured human and another drone alien could be produced here. There's not a lot coming through. From Australia, there's a few troops, a couple of Brits in here, but there is a bit of a gap on this side of the board. So we figure this is the aliens' best chance using Test Match Special and Gorlami. Gorlami, wow. If you remember that Tarantino movie, Inglourious Bees, that's where Gorlami comes from. So let's get some dice rolled and then see how the aliens get on. We'll start off with Init Bruv versus all these guys in Novosibirsk, see what happens there. Okay, so the captured human opens his eyes, turns into an alien called Init Bruv and says gulp because there's 29 units facing him. Let's roll the 6 dice for Init Bruv to see what damage they can do when attacking all those Soviet troops. And they have only done 4 hits. It's not good enough to create another captured human. That's what we were afraid of. To a small degree, let's just remove those 4 units. That's the simplest thing to do for tidiness' sake. We've got 29 dice, 12 in my hand, trying to roll double ones to take out these drone aliens. And we rolled a single 1 from the first 12 rolls. So, being as though we got another heck of a lot to go, let's do another batch of them, trying to get another 1 because it all counts as 1 roll. And there's plenty, there's 3 there. So Init Bruv is no longer. And all these 25 Soviet troops will go back into Novosibirsk. And the next battle will be probably that one up in Amur versus the Americans. That's probably the most important one to do. 27, 28, 29 and 30. Yeah. I moved all those in because it'd be easier to rationalise them when putting them back again. Alien with no name is going to be no longer very quickly. Let's roll his 6 dice in attack. I say him, could be a her because it's got no name. Let's find out. Can it do the 5 damage required? And it can't. Oh my giddy aunt! It's just the 3 hits again. So 3 Americans would get removed. Because we can't produce a captured human, we must have moved 3 fast-moving ones to give these those guys in J-Hole a chance later. I'm just hoping, but 30 units against this guy. Well, we're rolling batches of 10. It should be you 2, but double 1's what we're after. And there's a single 1 on that first roll, and none on the second roll. Okay, so they need to get another double 1 here, another single 1 here. Oh, when they get it on the final. Bit of a Hollywood for this stat. So, only when no name is lost, these units will rationalise back into Emur, and we'll get the battle for J-Hole on the board next. Okay, there are the guys back rationalised into Emur. The battle for J-Hole will be on the board in a second. I shall remove this dice. That's the reminding dice of how many captured humans are on the board. In this case, none at the moment. But we remain hopeful that perhaps some of these 1, 2, 3, 7 Japanese guys may be captured in this battle versus Gorlami and Test Match Special. Let's see how this works out now. When you have 2 aliens in there, or more aliens in one space, you still only could create 1 captured human per combat. So, should they both do 5 damage, you're only going to get 1 captured human in this space as an extra. But they got to do that as individual aliens as well. So we got 6 red dice for Gorlami and 6 black dice for TMS in attack, trying to roll 5 hits each, if you know what I mean. Someone somewhere in the world knows what I mean. And that doesn't look good again. Oh, your heart sinks when you see, look all these 6s and 5s. In terms of the red dice, there is just the 1 at 4, just 1 hit, and in the black dice, wow, there are just 3 hits. So that's 4 in total from Japan. That really is absolutely awful that 4 Japanese guys go. It's doubly bad because it will mean that on the next round of battle, because they're going to continue this battle as aliens, they're going to keep on going and bashing this guy. They cannot get a captured human because they cannot get 5 hits. There's not 5 units in there to be able to bash. Dear. I'm just desperately bad dice rolls for the aliens in this game so far. He says, whinging like a whingy thing who whinges. Let's roll the 7 Japanese dice. Double 1s. They managed to avoid rolling double 1s. So they got something out of it, these aliens. So again, they're going to get their 6 dice each to bash these Japanese guys there. And yeah, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. But again, there wouldn't be a captured human there anyway, would there? 1, 2, again, really poor rolling by the aliens. It's possibly their claws don't need sharpening a little bit more. But those 3 Japanese guys are go. Can they roll a double 1 between 2 of them? Between 3 of them, sorry. And they can't. So that all goes. These 2 guys here, Gorlami and TMS, will go into J-Hole. We can put a control marker on there to take that 1 IPC away from China. But that is the end of the alien turn. The Queen is on, I think it's 5 health points now. They are the only two drone aliens out on the board, and there are no captured humans on the board this time round. It's going to go to a 6th round. It will be whatever. Germany can get to reach there, not very much. Soviets can get to reach there, maybe some planes, but not much. It's going to come down to Japan and America saving the day. I'll see you in a wee while. Okay, so we got towards the end of turn number 5 now. The minor, in inverted commas, powers have made their moves. Brits have moved forward. They're now crowding these two guys adjacent to J-Hole. They could have used their air wing against the queen in her hive, but they figured, well, the hive can't produce captured humans, so they might as well use the Soviets into there on their turn. Let the Soviets get the glory for that. Maybe China if they need to later on, but I can't see that's going to happen. The Brits have been turning for home on a lot of their European forces. They've now gone across the Atlantic and put some, I think it's 11 units across into Nova Scotia, and they've got some mechanised stuff coming across for later on. Italians, similar thing, they're turning for home. They're probably going to go down to South America. It's just about some braces thing, covering all eventualities, depending on what happens here. We think that the end is nigh for the aliens. But there is a cunning plan afoot here. Australia still want a piece of this. They have 7 units in here, which potentially, with 6 infantry artilleries, could produce a captured human. So instead, they're going to move just the 4 units into J-Hole, which are human, plus 3 planes going to go into there too, which means should these guys roll 5 hits, they still can't produce a captured human. But there are 7 dice. There is a chance with 7 dice against these guys here, they could just take one out. And the way the dice have been going this time round, it wouldn't surprise me if we did lose an alien this time. Get it on the board. I shall see you over there. So here are the 2 aliens going in defence. We got Test Match Special and Gorlami. And we have the 4 Australian infantry, plus the 3 planes coming in shortly, flying in from Anhui, especially for the job. They will get 7 dice in attack. Can they roll a double one? As aliens, we hope not, because we want the aliens to get on a bit better in this game than they have done so far. 7 dice for Australia. Trying to roll a double one. Oh, I do not believe it. Yep. Okay, we're going to lose Gorlami. Damn and blast. But they will again get their dice rolls, but we know that they cannot do the 5 hits required to cause a captured human. They're both rolling dice, and that's just a smashing roll for them, isn't it? As far as aliens are concerned, there's only just 1 miss there, which is that 5. So all those Australians bravely lose their life. They've been sent to the boundary, hit for 6, knocked out on the offside, and are gone from the game. But Test Match Special will remain there as the lonely alien in J-Hole at the end of turn number 5. It's depressing. It starts getting depressing now. Australia bought themselves 1 airplane. I should do the non-com moves, everything for them. But I don't think now I shall be seeing you until turn number 6 when, well, surely that's going to be the end of the game fairly soon after that, I would imagine. I will see you sometime shortly. So back here on turn number 6, start of it with Germany. They're moving some units across the Atlantic to cover off any problems that may happen. They're going into Canada, the US, whatever it's going to be. They're moving many of their units back towards Germany and bringing some towards the hive just in case there's some sort of last minute hiccup and these a big surge by these last couple of aliens. It's not going to happen. But why am I being so diligent in doing this? Reason being, in one of the practice games, the aliens did so much better. And I think it was somewhere around turn 11, turn 12 before the aliens were finally dismissed from the game. By that time, some of the aliens were in Europe. But it did mean there was a great mix of units. There was a few Soviets left, not many. Germans, Brits, French, Italians, all in the middle of Europe. So I thought, well, why not just carry on? Make this a G45 after the aliens game, which I did do, and it was fun enough to justify continuing on with that battle. It did make a heck of a difference starting these units off in crazy places. If you wanted to start your game off in 1945 with the alternate start, then be my guest, carry on after the aliens, because it does make little bit of different fun. Let's get the Soviets moved on. It's just going to be these guys in Tunguska going into the hive, killing the queen, and after that we deal with young TMS here in J-Hole and be ending the video sometime shortly after that. Okay, the battle for the hive. Queenie with her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strength points versus 8 and 14, which is 22 dice from the attacking Soviet forces. Let's roll 12 of them right from the start. Trying to roll ones to damage the Queen's strength points. And what have I said about these guys rolling too many ones? Now, there's a couple of cocky die there, but I can see which way one of them is going to fall. Definitely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who says these dice aren't fixed? They're absolutely fixed. All the Queen's strength has been wiped out in half a roll, because there's another 10 dice to come by these Soviets next. Let's my camera's a bit wobbly there. Let's roll the other 10 dice. For the rest, that's 5 ones out of 12 dice. We dream of that for anti-aircraft guns, wouldn't we? So, no ones on the second half of the roll. So the Queen is still alive without any strength points. Technically, she's dead, isn't she? But we don't care. We're going to carry on just to make sure she's dead, and dead, definitely dead. Because aliens are nasty. And the Queen has scored, out of her 6 dice, 5 hits. We take out 5 infantry. Don't create a captured human. We remember all this. And so they're now going to get 17 dice from the original 22s, which means 12. Trying to roll a single one. And the Queen is dead. Long live the aliens. Well, there you go. There's a couple of ones there. Queenie's gone, for sure. We give her farewell roll because we can. 6 dice again. And this time, in her injured state, she only scores 4 hits, which would be 1, 2, 3, and one of them makes 4. So those guys will be going back into the hive, and we say goodbye to Queen, and we salute her for her services thus far. But remember those rolls of ones, they have been so totally over the top. So the Soviet Union have taken the glory of taking out the Queen. We've got this one guy left here. We're going to give us the first shot at ending the game to Japan. It's their turn. What they can do, they've got plenty of transport ships in here. Rather than sending in 5 guys and having that potential of creating a captured human in an area outside of the hive, we're going to send just 4 guys in on these transport ships, but it does mean we can bombard with 4 units as well. They won't produce captured humans, so we'll have 8 dice at 1 versus test match special to end the game. And the way those dice to go, I wouldn't bet against us scoring a couple of ones in this first dice roll. Let's see what happens. So there we have TMS, there we have 4 Japanese guys, and here we have 4 boats dropped in there for a one-shot bombardment. Let's see what they can do in attack. We're going to use black dice plus a couple of reds, 8 dice. In fact, let's do 4 and 4. We'll say that the black dice comes from the ships and the red dice comes from the people, or trying to roll at ones. Get everything nicely in shot. There's a pair of ones. There is a pair of ones. Yeah, it's done. It's all over. Red Rover. Young test match special. He goes. His parting shot is 6 dice at 2. The guy is, yeah. Dice are just horrible to me. They really are. Well, they're horrible to the aliens. And there's two guys get lost from the Japanese forces here. Okay, as I mentioned before, that's the end of the game. We're done. There's 2 guys in there rather than 1. Oops. Shuffling things around here. And as I said, if I'm actually having a second thought. I'm going to continue this game on a little bit longer. It won't be the full global game for me. For me, there's enough done for me. I've got plenty of other things I must be getting on with. But I might just roll out these Germans versus Soviet up here just to see what would happen. I don't think I might be tempted to do the full European war. If you're going to do that, the roundels that you put down covered over to show that you've taken these neutral powers, flip them back over to see who's got what. It just helps out to remember who's in where, and then carry on from there. Let me just turn on the other side of the camera for my final thoughts, and I'll see you there. There you go, that's better. That game was much shorter than the practice game. Maybe I'm getting better at playing the humans. Yes, that tactic of keeping mechanised units in rather than the humans can get changed into captured humans, etc. It's going to affect the way the game is played. And if you just go for a purely mechanical buy of just buying planes, eventually you will just win the game. I think... I've never really tried that. I've tried to keep the game fun and light for me when I played it, but as you heard me whinging throughout that video, there was just so many ones getting rolled, double ones getting rolled by the Allied powers. It was ridiculously brilliant. I mean, I'd love to roll double ones when I'm playing the anti-aircraft guns game, but we didn't do that. However, also, the tactics that I used there were slightly different to what I'd done before, trying to get more of a spread of aliens going around the board quickly. It is a bit more effective if you take the two Praetorian aliens out of the hive when expanding initially and bringing both those into one area or into tighter areas to focus on hitting Europe quickly or the Pacific quickly, rather than a bit of a slight machine gun spread of it. But tactics are for finding out and for developing and having fun with in subsequent plays. You may be able to develop these set of rules and use it in, say, Anniversary if you chose a different starting place. I wouldn't suggest starting in the middle of the board, but maybe that might work out for you. So, until next time, thank you very much for watching. Be cool.